I know you write a lot and whatever, and I think it's all part of our basic process. You're writing, you're recording, you're whatever. Have you had those times along the way where you wrote a song and go, I don't think this is right for the group, but man, I'd love to do this?
That's honestly half of where it started. I wrote this song with Eric Pasley and a buddy of mine named Abe Stacklasa. It's called The Driver, and it's kind of about the whole touring process. The first verse is kind of from the perspective of the driver. The next verse is kind of from the perspective of the audience, the dreamers, the believers, and then the last verse is about the singer. And I was sitting there, I was like, man, I know I want Eric to sing on this because it's just, his voice is just phenomenal, and we wrote it together. And I was like, if we could find another great, voice to sing, or a gravelly, weathered kind of sound, and we, I sent it to my buddy Dirks, and he was like, man, just blown away by it. And once he signed on, I was like, all right, this could be really cool. And then I had a couple other songs I'd always kept in my little vault over here that didn't quite, like you said, fit the band. But I knew it was just something that if I ever wanted to do something like this, might be something cool to hold on to. So yeah, it's just one of those things. The timing kind of worked out perfect. And, the fear was always, and, obviously you can relate, is like, are people ever, it's hard to obviously separate once you're known as one thing, for the listener to kind of separate and go, well, why? And what are they doing? And for me, it was just like, you know what? I've just got to do it from a musical standpoint. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, that's okay. Lady Antebellum is always going to be my main priority, just because we've worked too hard. And, go out there and play an hour and a half of songs that everybody knows. That was a long 8-9 years worth of work. So it'll always be there. But it was fun. And I think for me, just to fuel that artistic flame again, because I think you get to the point where, when you get so much pressure on you from a songwriting standpoint and from a single standpoint, it's really tough to deliver something fresh because you don't want to go too off the reservation. Yeah. And with this, it's like, I can do whatever I want. Yeah. No one knows. No one has any expectations. I don't even have any expectations. Kind of making music without an agenda, I guess, is the best way to say it. It was really fun. It felt like the beginning, and that's something I think
it's a good energy.
You miss that fight, to get there.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Do you think, trying to do this, will you consciously go, okay, I need to do something that's really not Lady Antebellum music?
Yeah, there's always going to be some common threads. Yeah. Just because
it's you.
It's a part of the band is such a part of the sound I've always loved and what I was going for. But the sound is definitely a little grittier, I think than where we've been. It's it almost kind of, some of the songs remind me a lot more of where we started, Love Don't Live Here. Kind of getting back into some of that kind of 70s, Southern rock and stuff like Crosby, Stills and Nash type of feel. It's just the kind of music I've always loved. Mm-hmm. But then trying to give it a little bit of a, make sure it feels fresh and current at the same time. But it's definitely much more of a throwback record than anything I've ever done before or been a part of.
What would you do musically as far as putting a band together?
Putting the band together right now, actually, it's going to be really fun. This has been, I think, the coolest thing about it is actually putting together, like, we don't have a specific dates put together, but I told him, I said, I want to go do a bunch of clubs. I want people grabbing on my legs. I want to smell the beer coming off the floor. And that's the stuff that I miss. Yeah. As you get to a point, and you're playing these arenas and amphitheaters, as way better than I do, there is a little bit of that craving for, where it all started and kind of is, in those kind of little dirty rock rooms, and you're just feeling that energy and you can see everybody's face. And of course you try to make those moments in a big setting, but you're never really going to capture it like you can in a club. Yeah. And I probably won't make a dime. We're sitting there and my business manager goes, all right, so you're going to have to go out in one bus. And I go, with 12 people, one bus? No. I said, no. We're not going. I said, I've saved up some money. I said, I don't care if I lose money on this. I said, this is for my soul. And
you will if you're doing that. Yeah. Because I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. But, even when Ronnie and I were touring, that was the first thing we would do, especially like when we had our Coors deal, because there were always clubs in whatever city we were playing in. So but even before we get to town, it's like, find us a club. So after the show, we'd have somewhere to go and jam and do just what you're talking about. You got to keep that fever that got you fired up.
You really do. And I think that's what this is all about. And I think I feel really blessed to be in a group that understands it, and I'm sure the two of them too will find some things. They're so artistic and have other things in life that from an artistic standpoint that we've always talked about wanting to try. And I think if there's ever time, this is it. And then hopefully it'll reignite us and re-inspire us from a writing perspective, because I think that's one thing too we were talking about. When we wrote our first record, we were in Nashville. The whole time you're writing, you're immersed in it, you feel. The last records have all been on the road.
Right.
And it's really hard,
to write road songs.
Not to write road songs. And I would love to just, kind of get back in here and get with all these Nashville cats again, like we did in the beginning, and see what we can come up with. So we're going to try to take as much time as it takes to get it right. If that's 3 months, it's 3 months. If it's a year, it's a year.
Yeah.
And, there's always a fear, you don't want to, like you said, lay off the throttle and people forget you, but you also want them to kind of miss you and have some anticipation. So that's our goal.
You also want to give them something that matters.
And give them something that matters. And I think that's really what we want to do more than anything. I mean, and that's always the challenge, give them something that matters that, hopefully still we'll get that radio, we'll dig and feel. And I don't know, it's a fun time.
Sounds healthy to me.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Scary, but exciting.
Yeah. But Cass is 19 weeks.
Cass, my wife is 19 weeks. Going to have a little boy.
So,
I know.
All these things you're saying, all this, we're getting back to the clubs and playing and doesn't matter and doesn't good. That's all sounds good right now.
Yep.
You've got, let's see, how much time left?
Yep. I know. Well,
and then all these things you're saying are going right out the window. Because when Junior shows up, you're going to have a whole different attitude, I promise you.
I'm going to try to do all that before he comes. That's the goal, is to try to get out there and, for 2-3 months, just kind of be a road warrior for a while and kind of get that artistic, perspective back. Enjoy, when my boy comes, and then honestly just dig ourselves in Nashville as a trio, and just absolutely just try to write the best record we can.
Sounds great. Yeah. And y'all were kind of having a little difficulty getting pregnant, and as I heard it, you said let's just take a little hiatus, and next thing you know,
it's crazy.
This test looks like it's the wrong color.
It was really funny too. My wife, she had taken so many of the little pregnancy tests for the past 2 years, and so I was so used to just going, it's just pointless to even look at it.
It's okay.
And
honey.
I was dead asleep. She kind of wakes me up, and she was so casual about it. She goes, the thing says it's positive, and it was so funny. I was like, no, and I went back to bed. She goes to the store, gets another one, like a little later in the day, and she's like, no, it's really happening. We were like, okay, cautiously optimistic. And we wait a few weeks, and then of course go in the doctor, and there it was. So It's pretty cool, because we had tried forever, and we were literally about to go in and start the, what do they call it, IVF process the next month.
Right. And
they said, well, you probably have a 1% chance naturally, just with the side, all the technical stuff, and that I still don't quite understand. I barely know how babies are made.
Yeah.
And it happened, and so it was a blessing, and because and we were lucky. A lot of friends that we know have had to go through that whole process, and it's pretty tough. Yeah. So we were one of the lucky ones, I think.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you, man.
That'll be fun.
How many you have?
I got 2.
You got 2. Yeah. That's what I want. I want 2. That's enough.
Boy and a girl, L.A. and New York.
Awesome.
So I'm in both those places enough that I still get to visit them. But our stories are very similar, because it seems like we're always the ones who are laying around in bed while they're up walking around sweating it. And so Barb's reaction was totally different. It was, oh my God, But we were, we were trying. I remember just kind of opening one eye and looking in the bathroom, and she's standing there holding that thing, and.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, it's like anything, 34. I think she's 32 or 33. I should know that. You know, so you're kind of going, okay, all your friends are having kids. You know, your parents are giving you the full court press. Everybody's asking you why. And you don't want to say, listen, we're struggling too. We're trying. So it was, you know, it was nice to kind of finally have it happen.
Listen, we don't know how.
Yes. We are trying our best.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming in. I know you got a full pull.
It was fun.
Wishing you luck. Can't wait to hear all the music.
I hope you dig it.
Keep it up, and you know I will.